Just gonna let this breathe a little bit. All right. Well, pretty much every single chalk course I think I was against won today. So I had a great day. I spent the entire day at Arlington Park and pulled double duty, and where I did not just lose money at Churchill, but I also lost my ass at Arlington. So today was a great day. Chase, did you play Oaklawn today?
Very lightly and very poorly. Very poorly, I might add.
All right, fuck it. Mark, how did you do today? Okay, good enough. Caleb, how did you do today?
Don't think I cashed a bet.
Okay. Well, I'm just glad that it wasn't just like me who just like had an awful day, and like, you know, we've made
Sweet of you. Just damn it, you're such a sweet guy, Josh. Really the sweetest thing you've said in a while.
I've made jokes about just like the amount of times I deposit sometimes on these weekends, and like normally it's like $25 or $50. I actually don't know how much money I lost today, which is just not a great feeling. So
friendly advice would be not to check.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to, but I think I do have. I still have like $150 for my ADW, but that was from an additional deposit. That wasn't from winning anything. Anyways, we are on the wrong lead. Oaks Day was interesting. Mark, how did you feel the track played today? Did you think that there was anything crazy going on? Did you think it was pretty fair?
I don't think crazy, but I think that off the pace horses were definitely better than they have been, and also outside drawn horses. The rails seem to be pretty deep and a little slow. I thought, I don't want to say closers, but because you weren't seeing a horse coming from 10 or 15 lengths out of it. But I don't think anyone wired a single dirt race, and I think every one of them you wanted to be either in that sort of just off that leader, that first flight, or that second flight.
Oh man, we have to commiserate with some of these people here. We have Brad Taylor here saying he needed Faya for a nice 5-figure score.
I feel that a lot. Faya was rough.
So one thing I noticed on the dirt track specifically was that if you were on a horse that got the like rail pocket trip in that second flight that looked like it was just full of a ton of energy, about to hit the stretch. Yeah, it wasn't
bad.
It's just that rail pocket trip was terrible today. So it wasn't just like being in the second flight. It was, where you were positioned. You couldn't be in there because, as Mark said, it did look very deep on that rail.
So I wasn't watching the main feed. I was on track, but our friend Annika says that at least you guys aren't Edzo. Every time you look up, he's an additional $1,000 in the hole. Was he just firing away today on air?
He was firing hardcore. I think he had the Caleb Exacta, and I think that's the only wager he hit on the day.
I think he was on his last $30, at least 4 races in a row. I don't understand this. It's like the bread and fish of $30, but
it's just I don't know why I'm acting like I'm blindsided. This is just how Oaks Day ends every day, every year. Oaks Day is just
there was one horrible exception.
Yeah, there's one noticeable exception too. I just thought after that happened that one year, it was just going to happen every year, and so I just kind of just marked hey, an additional $4,000 will show up in your ADW once a year on this date, and it does not happen. So. And John Massey saying yes, Eddie O legitimately player. I know he's a huge player. John Massey does want to bring up that She Dares the Devil wired. Fuck that horse. It was great for the group pick 6,
but I think you have to put an asterisk next to She Dares the Devil. First thing, She Dares the Devil was never on the rail. She was about in the 3 path the whole time around. It was a very nice trip, but also she very much. Was she on the lead? Yes, but was she also controlling pace and everybody just sat there and let her get away with murder on the front end? Oh yeah, they did. So I think it's a little different. There was no horse with a contested pace that held on, if that makes Sweet Sassy in his lack of love of Whitmore.
They also have to fucking rename that horse because she fucking hasn't been dared for shit. All right. Latruska decided to rate and she fucking wires. This time she draws like the softest field possible. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe Dunbar Road will beat her. And no, she still fucking wins. Like
I told you Dunbar Road was not winning that race, but did you listen, Josh? Did you listen?
It was less how much I liked Dunbar Road and more how much I hated She Dares the Devil. And I think I even texted a buddy today. And I was just like, I don't know what. I just have an irrational hate for this horse. So,
dude, I think she's really good. I really, really do. I mean, obviously, her trainer is, suspect, and we all know that. But I think she's just really good.
She's a nice horse. I mean, she overcame
very nice horse.
The alleged track bias today. She had some things go her way, but she was headed at the lane. I mean, pretty much dug in and then really kicked away again, deep in the stretch. She's a nice horse.
She took off very nicely when asked. She re-rallied, all that stuff you want to say.
I have 2 words for how today went. Aunt Pearl.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. That hurt.
Hey, guys, this is going to feel real good to do. FYI.
Is it going to feel real good to do that? I gave out the winner of that race that I really liked and fit on time for him. Was I smart enough to use the horse? No.
Hold on. Check this out. Guys, I'm going to save some money today.
So, Josh, how are you going to bet Jakarta if Jakarta's already,
I crossed her off already, baby. Here we go.
What other horse are you going to bet in here and waste money on?
Let me hold on.
Let me find the cheap speed.
That's
blowout.
right.
Blowout.
That's right.
That's right. Blowout.
I believe we were before stream. Marcus I really want to hear you talk about this race, and then Caleb's like, "Hey, don't worry, Jakarta scratch." And I was like, "Yeah." I think I like blowout here, anyways. And I think there was just an audible groan that came from everybody.
One other thing I did notice that I will throw out there is West Coast shippers did not do well today. In general, they did not run well. And that's something Caleb, I know, has talked about kind of a bunch of times, that we think that maybe some of those Santa Anita figures are a little suspect. So in general, the West Coast contingent just did not run well. So that might be something to pay attention to tomorrow.
Yeah, Selene has hurt me. I was really needing her to do something in the Latro N, and I mean, she came out last, she stayed last, and she finished last. It's one of those races that just you don't even get to root.
Oh man,
and Aqueduct horses apparently are okay, Caleb. So I've heard.
Yeah, she was okay. She was a
that's kind of an exception to the rule for winter duck talent, I think.
Well, I think we were talking about the 12.
The 12.
Yeah.
The Chad horse who ran second, who ran her eyeballs out.
The horse that I just absolutely hated and wasn't going to have in any ticket, any possible way. I think my pick 6. I played a small pick 6 ticket. I think I still use Molotov kind of defensively, but there's no way that the 12s.
Josh, there's a comment that you need to highlight by Road Warrior.
Oh, Jakarta sucked today. That's no good. Well, because Kendrick wasn't aboard. That's why Kendrick's in Kentucky.
It was really just a work so she can run tomorrow instead.
Yeah. But congratulations to Blowout, the winner of the Distaff Turf Mile tomorrow. You guys don't like Blowout, really? What's the deal with Blowout?
I didn't really see Speed hold on the turf today either.
Can we have a conversation about her Lake George? And ever since then, she was shit. And she was supposed to win that Lake George by about 6 lengths, and she just didn't freaking show up. I realized it was a 4-horse field. The pace was super wonky. And ever since then, I just have very much questioned her talent. She loves to find ways to finish behind other horses. 11 starts, 3 wins, 7 second places. She's the predominant bridesmaid. She's going to be controlling speed in here. She looks on paper to be the horse. She should control this and steal it from the front end. She'll find a way to finish second.
I mean, go ahead.
I mean, The other thing is, not only is it the constant bridesmaid, but like constant nailed at the wire bridesmaid, like last like
doesn't have that little bit of fight
or like by a neck. So not only like does this horse screw you, but it just like fucking plays with your emotions at the same time. That just feels like a horse that you don't want any part of.
She just doesn't.
Might be fun for a little bit, but
she doesn't have that like dig in and get it done. That little bit of extra fight, and gets headed constantly.
So you like got Stormy here, Mark?
Yeah, I'm all about Got Stormy here. Obviously she is the classiest horse in this field by miles. She should be able to set a really nice stalking trip here. Gaff can be really tactical off from Blowout, and I think I think she's just the most likely winner. And this is a soft field for her because she doesn't have to beat up the boys in this one, which is what she normally does.
I'm gonna say Abscond. Actually, I'm gonna take the Joel Rosario horse with Eddie Keneally. I mean, hasn't been running in very many graded stakes, but I mean, you've got a grade 1 win, which I believe out of Woodbine. Take whatever out of that. I think Woodbine has pretty good turf races. But I mean, consistent performer. I feel like there's a little bit of like if the speed has been coming back to the pack, kind of like we saw on the turf today, where some horses that looked like they should have been loose just kept getting picked. Then I maybe like Abscond to be one of those horses that's a little bit more forwardly placed. It's not running on the lead. That's going to be actually picking people off late, and I've got Joel Rosario, aboard to do it. So I'm gonna stick my neck out and say Abscond and not Got Stormy or Blowout.
Abscond has also beat notorious Josh Rodriguez money burner Walker Marrakesh in that G1. So
a lot of horses have beat Walker Marrakesh, Josh. That's not really an exclusive club.
They stopped giving out gold stars for that.
Yeah.
I mean, my top pick before finding out Jakarta was scratched was Zofel. I still think it's my top pick, but Got Stormy is probably going to get upgraded on my ticket now. I think the race looks jockey. Got Stormy makes a lot of sense, but I think Zofel is really going to be a monster this year. She took a little while to figure it out in the last half of last year, but she was up against some bad pace scenarios a couple times, including in her last start. And she might be up against a bad pace scenario again here, but hopefully the softer ground and the turf kind of playing a little more towards off the pace can set her up here. So I like Zofel.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know I have the Brisnet up another time for him, but the one thing I do like about Blowout, besides the fact that she's going to be on the lead, is that progressively better speed time form fig that she's had. It looks like she's just, at age 5, she's going to be rounding into form, and her figs, are pretty good over this field. So, I don't know. I think that this is going to set, especially now that Jakarta's out of here. Blowout might get loose on the lead here, and hopefully doesn't get sky loose on the lead, and hangs on there. But I actually agree with you, Caleb. I think the other horse that I'm interested in here is Zofel. But I don't know. This is probably also not a spot I want Got Stormy to beat me in. But I kind of have to look at how the other races kind of look before I kind of dictate how I'm going to go. But yeah, most of my money's going to be going through Blowout in this spot. I know Mark was super excited to hear me just rant about Jakarta. Thank God she fucking scratched.
I got to be excited about something, Josh.
I would bet Jakarta before I bet Blowout.
I would also have bet Jakarta before I would bet Blowout to win.
Really?
I would, yeah.
You guys
I
love
would love to bet
Pratt. You guys love Chad Brown. I mean, like, this is like a match made in heaven.
When Pratt is riding for Chad Brown, that should already tell you everything you need to know about that horse.
Exactly. Yeah. And, Blowout's the perfect horse to fill out the bottom of your exacta or to, key around in a trifecta, but I don't want her on top.
All right, let's move on to the Derby City's distaff here. Grade 1, 7 furlongs for fillies, mares 4-year-old and up.
This is the start of the mandatory pick 6 too, so you have to sort of decide. Not to cut you off, Josh, but you have to decide here. What are your feelings on Gamine?
I mean,
single and move on. Don't waste your
time. No. You got to try to get around. I think. No, you have to. You got to. I mean, okay. So, felt like the speed wasn't great on dirt. I know Gamine is a lot better, but we saw how Gamine, didn't really know how to run, using a track that was biased last year, and it cost her. So. Maybe a horse like Hibiscus Punch. Maybe a Bell's the One. A good old sconsoning. I mean, who doesn't like a good old sconsoning every now and again?
No, Chase, I can set you up for here. I think the most likely Gamine losing setup is Hibiscus Punch is adding blinkers here, so they're going, and that's the only way they can win. They have to clear and go. There's no other way. And if Hibiscus Punch softens up Gamine, you have a chance that somebody like a Sconson or somebody like a Bell's the One can get there. But again, if you're a horizontal player and you're on a smaller ticket, just single Gamine and take it. She wins this probably 90% of the time. But if you're somebody that wants to be contrarian and is looking for a big score, there are ways you can structure saver tickets so that you can take advantage of that potential scenario.
I'm glad that you say that, because as it turns out, Sconson that actually administers the sconsonings. So it sounds like that's a good omen for me liking Sconson to beat Gamine, because fuck Gamine and Bob Baffert, silver-haired fuck.
Our friend Rob in Kentucky is saying eat chalk, weasels. I really just I hate taking chalk, but this is just the absolute lone speed just scenario here. Maybe Hibiscus Punch goes, but I mean, Hibiscus Punch will go for 3 furlongs and then get put away halfway through this race. So I think Gamine just walks here. I don't really. Caleb, you're
went with Serengeti Empress last year, dusted her by 6 lengths, and won under a hand ride. And Hibiscus fucking Punch is not Serengeti Empress. This is not that hard. It's not. If you're playing, if you have any more than 5% of your money going around Gamine, unless you think she bleeds or you think she has a quarter crack that nobody knows about, or you have some kind of goofy angle.
Don't listen to him.
There's no reason to bet this horse.
We got to get around her. Everybody,
you don't get to speak when you bet Roadster yesterday. You lost your Baffert opinion.
We have to. We just got to. Everyone who's cool, come with me. We're getting around Gamine.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't want to spend any more time on that race because I just don't see it. I actually like to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. If I play the pick 6, whatever, I'll single Gamine. But I mean, if it wasn't mandatory, there's absolutely no way I would play that, because it's just I'd rather play the pick 5 and just not get fucked by Gamine missing the break and not add 20% value by taking a chance or whatever you might get extra from that one leg. But let's move on to the Pat Day Mile, which is probably has given us such winners as Funny Duck and I can't really think.
How long were you saving it up so that you could mention Funny Duck on stream?
I mean, I any chance I can mention Funny Duck, I will. I felt
He'll
so
stop
smart.
saying it when it stops being funny.
Yeah. But we got a 12-horse field here. We're going to be going a mile on the dirt, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like this melts, doesn't it?
Yep. I agreed. 100% agreed.
Yep.
I hope Jackie's Warrior takes a ton of money.
Yep, same here, because I do not like Jackie's Warrior here at all.
Okay. All right,
I think
good.
Caleb and I are on the same horse too, which is going to be scary.
All right. So
are we all on
the same horse?
Are we all
on Dream Shake?
I mean, I'm on Dream Shake a little bit.
I'm on Dream Shake,
but I'm on. I think maybe Chase
God.
and I might be on our B horse. Chase and I might be on the same B horse. All right, Chase. Here, let me. We'll close the PPs here real quick, right, Chase? I want you to imagine this, right? I want you to imagine a centaur, right?
Yeah.
But
I
instead
already
of
know where you're going with this. I love it.
Centaur,
I love it.
It's Dale Romans.
Admire me in my centaur beauty. I'm the mighty Dale Tar.
I mean, this is one of the angles, Chase, that we've talked about before. Meltdown race. You got the lone S horse and sitting on go here, 20-1 at Dale Romans' home track.
And he is a mythical beast, and he will plunder your horse racing jamboree. Yes, I kind of like it. I kind of like sitting on go for the old lone S angle. I see where you went with that, and I like it.
So all we have to hope for is that the rail opens up.
Rail opens up.
All right.
That's the most
rail opens up. All right. We got Dream Shake going on the outside, and Corey Landry just sneaks his way in the inside. I think we might have a chance here. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you guys. I was really early in the week was just like Jackie's Warrior is going to win this. Like, this is Jackie's Warrior's race to lose. And then as I started looking more and more at this pace scenario, you got Jackie's Warrior E7, or that's not the button I want. You got Jackie's Warrior E7. You got an E8 here, E7. You got a P8, E8, E8. I mean, this is going to, we'll fucking highlight the E6 too. I mean, these horses are just going to fucking ding. Not to get all Fonner Park on you guys, but they're going to ding dong on the front end here. I really do think this is going to set up for Dream Shake. And it seems like we're all kind of on the same horse here. I do like sitting on go as kind of a B type horse, but I think sitting on go probably needs to move forward like humongously in order to win this race. So it might be more of an underneath type play, but.
Yeah, the only other thing here would be if the track changes a lot, if you're a couple races in and you realize that speed is much better. One of the works horses was Dreamer's Disease, the 10, and I think that horse is pretty interesting if speed is good and you have a little bit of dirtied up form there. Obviously, something went wrong the last time out, and this is one that they thought enough of to drop in the BC Juvenile. So might be an interesting horse if at a price.
Yeah, I think Dream Shake's the horse to beat for sure. I do think you can make a case for a couple other off the pace horses. I don't think Sitting on Go is one of those that you can make the case for, really. But I do think that a horse like the 7 Whiskey Double could be a little bit interesting. He looks like a horse that should be pretty good going about a mile. Looks like he just couldn't quite get drain the clock last out. Who's probably the best 3-year-old sprinter I would say that we've seen so far. So I think the mile here should be pretty good for him, and I think he makes some sense to come off the pace. And I think the 6, Starring in My Dreams. I know Briz has him as an E1. I don't think that's accurate. In his last couple, he's been kind of taken off the pace, and he's been more of a just mid-pack kind of runner. And I just don't think this horse has really wanted to go as far as they've been running him in his last couple starts. He sort of just kind of runs evenly and flattens out. But I was really impressed with his last start in the Lexington. That race totally melted apart, just completely melted down. Dead closers ran 1-2. And Starring in My Dreams was by far the best of the horses that were somewhat, forwardly placed in that field, as he kind of held on for a pretty nice third. I think the cutback here makes sense. And honestly, you're taking your life into your own hands if you're fading Louis Saez riding for Dallas Stewart right now, because he had another one win today that I think paid like $60 or something with a horse that just looked horrible. So, those are the two horses I think could get some value to hit the board maybe.
I do have to highlight Sixer, who said playing Sitting on Go is a higher level of degeneracy than trying to get around Gamian. So that's pretty bad. Fighting Irish here says he loves Dream Shake and to watch Whiskey Double. So he's pretty much right there with you, Caleb. He must also be on the Tout Discord along with you. Read your notes. Timeform actually really likes Star in Your Dreams here. I think has Star in My Dreams is like your third choice. So that might be a horse to kind of look out for. But Dallas Stewart does realize that this is not the Derby, right? So, I mean, he's not going to suck up for third in this one. But
one other horse before we move on that we haven't mentioned is the 12 horse, Joe Frazier, who I find a little bit interesting. I don't know what they have it rated at, the horse rated at E-type, but horse that probably sits in here. You know, if you think this gets a little bit melty on the front end, which it may very well happen, could probably sit 5th or 6th. That last out seemed to be a much improved performance. You're getting, a little flow and the hot cocks. So, might be a little bit interesting there if the price drifts.
Guys, I'm afraid I might defunded. Who am I? What is happening to me?
What did you have to drink?
I don't know.
How high are you?
I feel like I'm maybe being am I being poisoned? Like, what's happening? Is this? I kind of.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't hate the horse, but he's not a top 2 or 3 pick. But he would make a pick 6 of mine. I'll put it that way. At some level.
I mean, honestly, the way Irad's been riding, I mean, I wouldn't hate just using based off of that.
But you didn't apparently see a rad ride today, then, did you?
He had 4 wins today, or 3 wins in 2 seconds, or something.
Yeah, he won that. He won the race after the Oaks.
I think he had 4 wins.
Where the real money was.
That was the only ticket at cash. So.
Early on the card, I know he looked a little bit. He was on some shorter priced horses, and he did not ride the best.
Yeah, and Defunded does also fit in here with non-E horse, so that might be one to take a look at. So,
it seems like the jock change is going to be beneficial from Money Mike to Ortiz.
Else?
Well, yeah, because I mean, this very much isn't like a Money Mike kind of horse where he just kind of said before they go, he leans at the gate and he pets it on the neck and he whispers in its ear, "It's like, you just do what you want to do, baby. I'll just be here." And he lets the horse do what's in its heart. Well, Irad's a little bit more of a attentive rider. If it's a horse that needs to be kind of focused up a little bit, I feel like he's the person who could actually probably do that, as opposed to Mike Smith, who just tells them to just be themselves.
I know yesterday you guys were talking about, if Aunt Pearl doesn't fire, do you fade Brad Cox the rest of the weekend? And I don't think that was something I was totally on board with. But I think it kind of leads to the question of, Baffert had 2 horses that ran today. Neither one hit the board. And, apparently Calypso may have bled. She finished way in the back.
And the other one was Roadster.
So, any concern about these Baffert horses shipping in, or not?
Yeah, I said earlier, I'm suspect of the entire West Coast contingent shipping in, and I think that if you looked at how they in general ran today, not the best.
Is it bad that the Baffert horse I like the best, besides Gamine and the entire weekend?
Don't say you like this freaking 5.
Is going to be in race 9 on the turf. Give me this 5, baby. Du jour. We got Bob Baffert on the turf. I love this horse, dude. This horse is dude, this race sucks. All right. Let's be real. This race sucks when the fact that Du jour is looks like a legitimate contender in this race. Wait, Chase, are you okay?
It's not the race sucks.
I'm sitting here.
A good betting race.
I'm sitting here and I'm either laughing or about to have a panic attack, thinking if you're a Bob Baffert fan, how much easier is life? How much easier must life be? Because you just be like, Bob, and then just be done with it. That sounds really refreshing and fun and relaxing, and I want to try that for a little bit.
So you want to be Mario? You're saying you want to be Mario?
No. Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He's just Bob Curious.
I'm just Bob Curious. A little Bob Curious.
I mean, is the only Chad in this race the one?
Yeah, and I really kind of dig the one quite a bit. You're getting Rispoli, who has a win already, on his limited number of mounts at Churchill. You're getting Chad Brown. You're getting a horse that looks like it wants to be really forwardly placed, and that one is also one of the works horses in here. Obviously, first-time turf has to handle it, but has the pedigree that says the horse should handle it. And if you're looking at this race and saying, geez, there's no standout in here, there's nobody I really love, why not take a price with a Chad Pasta horse? Why not?
Caleb, I know you said you liked the 5-2 last night. Don't lie to me.
I do. So I'll be honest with you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 7 horses written down this race. I have no idea who wins. I think at a high level, I think there's a lot of speed. We haven't really seen speed hold. So I was kind of looking more for off the pace runners, but I just feel like a lot of the off the pace runners look the same to me in here. I'm not against Mark's one because you are getting a nice price, but this is typically a horse I'd be pretty heavily against at any kind of a short price. Going from a New York bred, dirt race onto the turf into a grade 2 with a jock that doesn't normally ride for Chad. It is Rispoli, who's excellent on turf, but there's a lot of question marks there. But there's a lot of speed in here. I don't know what to do. I do like your 5 because he can sit. He doesn't need to lead. But it's Baffert on turf. It's not just Baffert on turf, but it's a Natalie Baffert, Bob Baffert horse on turf, which are like the fake Baffert equivalents. This horse is facing more horses today than it did in its last 2 starts combined. And there's just a lot of question marks about those California turf horses. So I really have no idea. I'll say I'm looking for closers, and of the closers, I'd probably lean more on like the 13, I think, the most. And then maybe a little bit of some of these horses that are coming out of the Sam Houston race, like the 6 World Prince maybe. But those are kind of the horses I'd be looking at. But I could literally use every horse in this race. And considering I'll probably start with 2 singles in the pick 6, I'll probably have every horse in this race covered.
I was going to say, what about Annex, the 4, the Bill Mott Irad horse? I mean,
nothing wrong with that horse for sure.
That plus the horse that you have to use, the Bob for du jour. I don't see how you need more than 2 horses, honestly. And that really, the Bob horse is the horse that does the heavy lifting there. So, I like Annex. I feel like this is a great run style for what the turf looked like today. I don't know if there's really a setup there, but I also don't know if there's any, there is speed, but is there anything other than cheap speed? So I do like Annex, and I used du jour because now it's just like an experiment at this point.
So Caleb, if you like Scarlet Sky at 4-1, don't you also have to like Palazzi at 10-1, who had a worse trip in the Transylvania and only lost to Scarlet Sky by a half length?
I do like Palazzi. That'll be if Scarlet Sky is like an A, Palazzi
same run style too.
A B. I trust Rosario more than I trust Gaffleone. The post it's only 1 post in, but I just like the improvement pattern on Scarlet Sky. It's never really gone backwards, whereas there have been a few races that weren't quite so good from Palazzi. But I'm not against her by any stretch. She'll make my ticket, or he'll make my ticket rather, but it'll just be a little bit, a little lower, maybe like a B.
Yeah, the only other horse I sort of wanted to ask specifically Caleb about, because I know he'll have an opinion on it, is Next, who is in this race, who broke her maiden on the turf. Then they decided to go throw her on the dirt, and she absolutely romped and then kind of flopped, and now they're back to the turf again with her. 20-1 seems like an interesting sort of horse in here. Obviously they got probably see Juvenile Fever, thinking maybe Derby path, but that didn't work out. Any love for Next?
No love for Next. No. No hate for Next either. The horse is 20-1. Wesley Ward was on fire at Keeneland. I think this is just a horse that's likely to be a pace casualty. I don't know how far the horse really wants to go. Pedigree suggests this distance should be fine. But these Wesley Ward horses that disappear for crazy lengths of time and run twice a year and run these big races, I always have a hard time with them. So I will have the horse, but it'll be probably a C for me. It might squeak on to a B. I haven't looked at the works, so if the works are good, maybe it gets upgraded. But I'm not going to.
It was a works horse, by the way. That's the other reason I kind of went there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have the horse somewhere, but it's not a horse I'm going to be excited to bet or building tickets around. I feel useless in this race, but I literally have no idea.
I mean, like looking at Next, I mean, I guess if you like Next, you kind of have to like the one as well, right? Based on breeding. And they're both not this time. So, although I think the one's probably got a little bit more turf on the bottom, right?
Well, it also has this guy named Chip Braun.
Yeah,
and this guy named Umberto Rispoli up. So, that's an okay turf combo, I've heard.
Let's take a look at chat real quick. Road Warrior says, I trust Rosario. That takes some guts, Caleb.
Yeah, I guess my I trust Rosario more than I trust Gaffleone when they both have parking lot draws and one has to work out a trip. I guess that's probably there's about 3 or 4 asterisks on my statement.
Yep. Fighting Irish also thinks Palazzi is probably a good key there. He thinks Annex is logical. And DJ Vasquez.
DJ was hot.
He likes today, he likes Royal Prince. He likes Royal Prince here. So
for the hot cocks, huh?
The hot cocks.
Yeah, you say it better than I do.
All right, let's move on. This is the race that you want to talk about, right, Mark? The Churchill Downs here, 7 furlong sprint.
You're going to make me talk about this? I mean, I say Chase would be just as good as me to talk about this race. But no, I really think this is one of those races that on paper you go, whoa, look at all these horses. There's a ton of players in here. And the more I went through it, the more I just sort of disregarded everybody. I think my top choice in here is Whitmore. Whitmore has this thing where he doesn't throw up the crazy good figs anymore, but when he runs into a soft field, he just kind of dominates them. And he didn't have the best trip last out in the Count Fleet. Santana was a little late on him, and CZ Rocket got first jump. I think Whitmore makes a ton of sense in here. I think there's a pretty good chance that they could go win this and then decide to retire him. But I think Whitmore is your most likely winner in this race. In a race where I think he's going to get his pace set up. It looks like, somebody like a Bango really has to go. And then you have that sort of next contingent that's got quite a bit of pace. Somebody like a Flagstaff, Get Your Price or Endorsed are all going to kind of be up there and pressing that pace. It should set up Whitmore really, really nicely. And, Santana just has to not do anything stupid, which sometimes is
let me tell you about Ricardo Santana riding Whitmore. Chase.
I don't know if it sets up for Whitmore, quite honestly. I think that Whitmore might definitely be the best horse in this field, which might be enough to carry him to the winner's circle where they keep the flowers and the third wives. But there's so little speed that I'm afraid that he won't have very much to run into. And it actually makes me kind of like a horse like Get the Prize as someone who might actually go out and kind of take the lead. I'm saying all this to be cool. And the fact is that I'm just going to, giggle like a little girl and bet Whitmore at my first opportunity and probably key Whitmore on top. But I'll probably Get the Prize underneath an exacta. And then I'll giggle more and then write in my fucking Tiger Beat journal about how I bet Whitmore again and I love him forever.
I can't top that.
Caleb, what are you thinking here?
This is the second race in a row that I have no idea. I had 7 horses once again. I see the race similar to Chase. I think that I love Whitmore, and I think he's the best horse in this race.
He's the best. He's just the best guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the most cuddly of all the horses. But,
God bless him.
I don't know that he gets the pace he needs. I mean, out of every horse in this race, there's only been one horse in this whole race that made the lead in their last start. So, there's a bunch of
everyone has needs. He's not being selfish or anything. He has needs. Please go on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I just don't know what to do here. I like Whitmore, but he's not a horse I'd feel confident building tickets around. I feel kind of gross, but I sort of like base in here. They kept running this horse too far, in the tail end of his 3-year-old season, like convinced that they had a Derby horse. And I really think they just didn't. I mean, but if you kind of toss out every race he has around 2 turns, all of his 1-turn races really fit. Pletcher has this horse go in the right direction. And that's a horse that I think could be a little bit sneaky at 8-1. The other horse, I mean, there's a bunch of horses like I could make the case for here, but I guess the other one that I have some interest in would be the 12 Endorsed. And I believe I'm going back to back on Rosario horses, but this is a horse I think is going to be pretty forwardly placed, especially with that wide draw. And he's got some really dirty form. You know, the turf race is ugly, and some of those routes weren't so good. But as soon as they cut him back to 1 turn and put the blinkers on in his last 2 starts, he delivered 2 pretty good races. He didn't win either of those, but he did deliver some honest efforts. And he had a little bit of traffic last time out, so I'm not going to hold that against him too much. The horse that beat him, Fat Man, the one, is a nice horse who's known to run some big races on his own, so I don't really hold that against him either. But there's a lot of ways you can go here, and I just now realized I didn't even mention my top pick. Who was the 5? Tap It to Win. Another horse I think they got Derby fever on, and this horse just doesn't want to go this far. But once again, you look at his 1-turn races, and he really fits here, especially if you kind of toss the 2 races at the tail end of his 2-year-old season where clearly something went awry. But he kind of proved in the Pat Day Mile last year that he can handle Churchill, who doesn't mind running in Kentucky. And he gets second off the layoff here. He's going to be forwardly placed. And that's another horse I thought was interesting. So I'm going to have a lot of horses here. But I'll probably have – if I had to pick one horse, it would be Tap It to Win with maybe some sprinkling of Endorsed.
Yeah, I would say the other horse I have is like I said, I only want 3 horses in here, and Caleb just touched on one of my other 3. Obviously, loved Whitmore, and Whitmore's amazing, and I think Whitmore's your most likely winner. But my other A horse in here is Fat Man, who appears to be rounding into form as a 7-year-old. Yeah, I mean he's gotten better his last 3. They seem to have him in very, very good shape right now. And if he fires back to any of his last 2, he's a major player in here at a pretty stupid price for a horse that I think makes a ton of sense. And the other one that no one has touched on is Hog Creek Hustle. And I mean, I understand that he probably wants a mile a little bit more than he necessarily wants 7 furlongs, but he does, some of his best races have come at Churchill at 7 furlongs. And he's a horse that, I understand this looks, there's a somewhat contested pace, although we're not sure how fast that pace actually is. We've seen a lot of times where that happens. All the trainers look at it and go, oh, I want you to get the lead. And you all of a sudden have a 5-horse scramble for the front end with a stupid pace. And if that comes apart, Hog Creek Hustle is one of those horses that can pick up all those pieces. And his pro has shown that, when he decides to show up and when he gets the right setup, he can be a legitimate horse.
I love your take of Whitmore and then Fat Man, because it's like, I love Whitmore. I love the great taste of Whitmore. So maybe I'll like Whitmore Light also. So let me go ahead and take Fat Man.
Whitmore Light is what we're calling him?
Whitmore Light. Yeah, it's just Whitmore Light.
Well, I mean, he's Whitmore.
I'll drink Whitmore Light in a pinch,
He's similar in ability, on figures. He's similar to Whitmore, just, 5 or 6 times the price, which is something to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, that's why he's light. He's not.
And I hate Flagstaff in here, who Josh has just brought up.
Yeah, he looks too slow, doesn't he?
He's just too slow. Like Flagstaff here, really?
No, he's just way too slow.
The horse just never wins. It feels like it's like a Rudy Brissett winner. I never actually see it happen when it happens.
And how many horses in this field have beaten him? I mean, Whitmore a couple times, he's gotten beaten up by CZ Rocket. Just never seems to get it done. I mean, I realize he won the Commonwealth, and maybe 7 furlongs is what he really wants to do, and he's just not a 6 furlong horse. But because his better races have come at 7, but even if he runs his best, he needs to have a career topped at 7 to be a player. There's 4 or 5 other horses in here who are just playing faster, and he needs to invent a career top at 7.
It's not that he's not good enough. It's just that he's bad, and people who like him are bad also.
Well, my top pick here is going to be Flagstaff.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Eating chalk again.
Makes sense.
Flagstaff getting back to his preferred distance of 7 furlongs, where he's got 3 wins and 5 tries and 1 second. and then he gets an aggressive rider in Luis Saez. So I think he's not gonna be on the lead, but I think he's gonna be sitting a little bit more forwardly placed, which I think in these bigger fields is important. I mean, I think this is just going to set up nicely for Flagstaff. He's my top pick in this race, but I have 2 A's. My other A is, I think, a horse that Caleb has touched on, which is a 3 Basin. Basin just makes a ton of sense here from a Fig standpoint. He looks like it looks like once they started sprinting him, he's just become a different horse. So these are the 2 horses that I am going to key most of my playthrough. But depending once again, like looking at ticket structure, how deep I'm going to go. I really do like Fat Man as well. I think Fat Man is one of those weird horses that is like, he probably wants to go 7 furlongs. But I don't know, like Figs wise, he fits. I think he's getting back to a distance where he likes to go. He tends to fire really, really big figs, but my concern with him is that he seems to really only fire those big figs at Gulfstream. So I don't know if him like leaving Gulfstream, like what's going to happen. I mean, last time he ran at Keeneland, he kind of threw a dud. So I don't know how he's going to ship out. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. I don't know if there's enough pace here for Whitmore to come from way out of it, and I just think that Flagstaff's going to be sitting a lot closer to the pace here. So
no, I'll talk Flagstaff.
Mark, we told them. We've told them multiple times. Whitmore. We've said it. So legally, I don't think we have any liability at this point because they were well warned.
Yeah, well warned. I was going to say, I'll talk Flagstaff right into the winner's circle right now. What I think of a vow of confidence, it's when the jock last out wins a G3 on your horse and then decides to get off to ride another horse. That's a vow of confidence. So Rosario got on to Endorsed, I think, which should probably tell you all you need to know about the morning line favorite Flagstaff.
So I don't think I've ever been on the wrong side of Flagstaff, and I don't think Josh has ever been on the right side of Flagstaff. We are on the opposite side of Flagstaff in this race, so I will let that evidence speak for itself. And that I just want to touch on Fat Man because I do think he's a total wild card here. The reason I don't have him higher is that the 2 worst races of his career came off Lasix, January 23rd and then February 27th. I'm not sure if this might just be a horse that needs Lasix or if he has bleeder issues or something else. And I'm also kind of concerned he's going to bounce. He kind of ran a monster race last time out. The only other time he got close to that number, he needed 10 months off. And he finally got back to it now. And, on relatively short rest, I'm just not sure. At 12-1, I could see someone taking a price. But there's a lot of 12-1s here that look good. And he's kind of in the middle of the pack for me.
I was going to say, I do have to ask Caleb. Caleb, are you using your favorite horse in this race?
I'm not using mind control in this race. I finally written the breakup letter, and I got the tattoo covered up, and we're seeing other people.
Mark, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say on Basin. I know Caleb kind of talked about liking Basin in here. Maybe he's a new horse at 7 furlongs, but if you toss the wet races, isn't he just plain not fast enough in here? And he's got the pedigree where he should love the wet. 8-1, I'm not going to talk anybody off wanting to bet the horse. I think at 8-1, he's value. My concern is here, if he takes money, I just kind of look at him and go, well, when you remove the wet races, he's just not that fast.
I mean, I guess you could argue that. I wouldn't knock it entirely. I think he has a ton of right to step forward, second start off that huge layoff. Pletcher spots him well, and he's not. If he only was running, on time form 100, then I would say even with improvement, he probably doesn't get there. But he's really only 4 or 5 points too slow on his fast track figures. So I think that improvement's within reason for sure.
So I do want to touch on a couple of comments in chat. The first one I want to look at is, sometimes there's just like somebody wakes up in the morning and just chooses violence. And and Rob sends, if you ever look at him on Twitter, I think he chooses violence on a daily basis. But here he goes and says,
I love Rob. I love Rob.
I love Whitmore, but I want Chance Moquette to cry. So Rob is just like woke up and just like wanted to piss in somebody's Cheerios for no reason. Fighting
Josh,
Irish.
I was just saying, how do you not love Bango, Josh? Isn't Bango your horse in here?
No, if it were fast, but cheap fast, then I think so. But I don't think it's like either. I don't think it's even fast.
I'll be honest. The horse in this race that I did try to talk myself into quite a bit was Mind Control, but I just don't think I can get there. I thought Mind Control's got some nice early pace figs, and I thought that maybe if he like remembers how he used to run like 2 years ago, that he might have a shot winning here. But
the irony of you not being able to talk yourself into Mind Control, not lost on me. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Sixer says he likes Whitmore a lot more at Oak Lawn.
That's legit. That's a legit criticism. Legit, yeah. Oak Lawn and Keeneland. Like I'm not sure if he does his best running at Churchill Downs. That's fair.
David over here saying he likes Fat Man. He's horrible at capping, so he calls this a win for him. Since I think a lot of us do like Fat Man here, and
I think the morning line on Fat Man is a bad morning line. That would be how I would take that.
And I started talking about chalk, and our boy Stephen Fox decided to show up.
It's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times.
Even Stephen Fox won't bet Flagstaff.
Oh, dude, I'm sure Flagstaff's all over his tickets. Fighting Irish
is not all over his tickets. I can confirm that.
He says Bango loves Churchill and thinks that maybe recaptures that form.
I love a good horse for course angle. I wouldn't hate that. Yep. Especially you'll probably get 3-1.
Bango has some back class if you dig a little bit that would fit in here. So,
all right, let's move on to the Turf Classic, which is another race. Like we were talking about this offline. This is another race that just like surprised me, I guess, with how different I thought we were in this race. And I'm actually like, what else surprises me about this race is how few horses that are in here that owe Caleb money. I was really surprised because the thing is that like prior to last year, like late last year, Digital Age would have been up there pretty high. But then I think Caleb got on the right side of Digital Age a couple times, and I think they're on speaking terms again. But yeah, this is an interesting field. This is another race that I think is a bit devoid of speed, and I did kind of like Smooth Like Straight here. I mean, I feel dirty taking a West Coast turf horse in a race in Kentucky, but I thought Smooth Like Straight here fits pretty well. And I mean, I think you guys are a little down on the favorite here, but I also like the favorite Colonel Liam quite a bit in this race. Caleb, because it's a turf race, you do have to take first shot at this. What are you thinking here?
So I think I'm on a similar track as you, I will say. I don't love California turf horses. I do think this is a pretty weak running of the Turf Classic, truth be told. And I am interested in Smooth Like Straight. You have Rispoli on a horse that looks like he should get pretty loose. The turf hasn't played kindly to speed. I don't know that Smooth Like Straight is really this good. But given the pace setup, the jockey, and everything else that goes into it, he'll make my ticket for sure. But the horse I like the best is actually the 4, Ivar. It's 5-1 in the morning line, and I don't.
So you're like me, and you're praying that Joe Talamo gets food poisoning in the next like 6 hours or so, because I really like Ivar too.
Yeah,
except for that one thing.
Like I'm really hoping that I'm not going to say food poisoning, but something would happen, perhaps.
I don't want him mortally wounded. Can he just be bumped by a car in a parking lot,
Yeah, I mean, maybe
stuck in traffic.
You get stuck in traffic. Exactly.
He gets stuck in traffic.
Look at the flat tire.
Wait, maybe he does get stuck in traffic, but he's actually riding the horse.
Well, I mean, that's
boo this man.
Get out.
Boo.
Ivar is actually consistently the fastest horse in this race. there are other horses with figs that are as good or even better one-off, but he's the most consistently fast horse in the race here. And you don't have the big sexy connections. So I don't think he's going to get bet. Colonel Liam's going to take a lot of money, and I'm just not convinced about this horse. I had no idea who he was when he won the Pegasus Turf. I still didn't really know who he was when he won. I actually don't even know what race that is at Fairgrounds, some kind of, Frankie Muniz race. I don't think he beat anybody in those two races. I mean, Largent is like a Gulfstream specialist. We all know my feelings about Cross Border. I mean, 2 Emmys and Logical Myth. Like, who are these horses? Like, there's no Chad Browns in there. Like, there's no Brad Coxes or Bill Motts. Like, I'm not interested in those horses, and I'm not interested in Colonel Liam. He's the exact kind of favorite I want to beat.
Yeah,
I like Ivar a lot here. I like a little bit of Smooth Like Straight, and I'm going to be pretty deep, and I'm not going to have Colonel Liam on a ticket because I also have a passing interest in both the 2 and the 9, who have some real duds on their races, but their A game wins this, and I think you get a nice price on both of them. So that's kind of my take. I'm going to be spread here, and I don't really have much interest in the favorite.
Yeah, I'll also end up being pretty spread here. I'm very much playing against Colonel Liam. He was one of the major play against in our pick 6 when we were doing a group handicapping session. Sheldon straight up asked me, "What did that horse ever do to me?" But no, I mean, I think when you look at Colonel Liam, he won twice on the Durf down at Gulfstream, and then he beat no one in the Fairgrounds race. That race was amazingly weak. So there are just a ton, and he won on 70 cents on the dollar. There's a ton of questions there, I think, about Colonel Liam, and he's the kind of horse that I want to get around. I think Ivar is, again, probably my top choice. When we were doing a group handicapping session, I got to that Ivar. I'm like, shouldn't Ivar be the favorite in this race? Like, how is he not the favorite? And everybody sort of laughed at me. But if you look at his body of work, he's a very consistent horse. He always brings his A game, and that A game is probably the best in this field.
That's when times were hopping back at old Smokin' Joe's Cafe. It's been dark times for a little bit.
Dark times?
Dark times at Smokin' Joe's Cafe with Joe Talamo.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree food poisoning would be a wonderful thing to have happen here because anyone not named Joe Talamo would, yeah. But no, the other horses I liked in here, Master of Hounds, who's been working really, really well. This may be a little too sharp for him. He probably wants to go a little bit further, but, one horse, Josh. But his, works horse and you're getting Rosario and, some of who, and Rosario does have a win on with the horse. And some of his back races, fit very nicely here. I do agree with Caleb on his 9. I think the 9 in here, which is Ride a Comet, makes a bunch of sense. And the other one we haven't mentioned that I want a bit of is, the Chip Braun in here, Digital Age, who is a horse that, is 2 for 2 across the Churchill turf, so he'll handle it. And he happens to be your defending race champion at 8-1 on the morning line. I don't understand how he's not second choice, third choice in here. But if I get 8-1, that's probably straight win bet kind of money. He's
also running on a track that very closely resembles the same kind of track that he won on in this race last year. The track seems to suit Digital Age and what he wants to do well. But other than that, I'm just on Ivar. I'm on Ivar. I'm praying for the bad taco.
Nobody likes the other Chad, huh? The Chad that's actually, which I think is the worst morning line potentially of the sequence, but 9-2 on domestic spending. I had zero interest in that horse.
Yeah, no interest in domestic spending. No. I mean,
don't give a damn about no fiscal responsibility. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, I mean, domestic spending, sure, maybe, but why is Pratt up on this horse if this horse is actually alive? I mean, that's got to be about Chad's 6th tier jock.
Because Irad's going to win on Colonel Liam.
But Jose's also ridden the horse as well. Jose could have been up. He could have gotten Pasta. He could have gotten, any other jock that doesn't suck. I mean,
I don't think he could have gotten Rispoli off of Smooth Like Straight.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's a love connection right there.
I mean, Jose has no mount in this race.
But Jose has no mount in the race. So why is he riding? Why is he using Pratt and not Jose, who's ridden the horse before?
And even Rosario is getting up for, Baltus, which is a California guy. He doesn't even ride for very often.
Yeah.
But at least Rosario is like stationed out there a good portion of the year, you know?
Hell, even Ricardo's riding for Maker instead of on cross border instead of Jose.
That might be an upgrade.
Eesh. That felt just bad to say. That felt bad in my heart.
It may not be wrong, but it felt dirty.
Yeah.
See, I'm glad that Nick is making fun of all of you saying no one's beating Liam. Yep.
This is like, I think I talked about this to somebody else the other day. It's like do you believe in form or do you believe in figures? Because if you're looking at form, Colonel Liam is a clear standout. I mean, he has recency, proven at the distance, 3 wins in a row. There's a lot to like, Pletcher and Irad. But if you're looking at figures, he's just not that fast. I mean, he's fast enough to win, sure, if he improves. But there's, do you want to bet a horse as the favorite that probably needs to improve to win? And I just don't. Like, that's something I'll probably never do. So despite the form looking good, I don't think they were good races, and I'll let him beat me.
Yeah, exactly the same take. He's run if you look at figures wise, he's run the same exact last 3 races. So you don't expect him to step up. And yeah.
I love the optics of Caleb talking a turf race and then immediately going to the bottle and just pulling the cork out.
Like, it wasn't a turf marathon.
Why do they do this to me?
I'm just glad we didn't have to talk about cross-border. Which I asked before last race if we could finally put him in the Sadler's Joy's fan club. And I think you guys said no. So can we now put him in the Sadler's Joy fan club?
That was the kind of whiskey pour that usually is the precursor to a very long repressed war story, man. Like there was general human emotion in that.
Is that the same the same group that Zulu Alpha's in? They're all in the same fan club. Okay.
No, I mean Zulu Alpha's he's like on sabbatical or something, but they're all in the same club.
Well, isn't he like 9?
I don't know. You might have like Social Security or something by now.
Oh man. All right. Well, once again, we've made great time, and we now have about 30 to 45 minutes to just talk about the Derby. We got. We don't have any scratches yet, right? Oh no, we do have a scratch. Right?
King Fury.
I think Fury scratched before.
R.I.P. to Chase's futures.
Fuck you, man.
Future. That man still got one dream alive.
I have 2 dreams alive. One in the fact in the form of a key box exacta with basically it just has to be elusive quality and any 3-year-old that wasn't in the first Derby pool in the exacta. Or I got Midnight Bourbon at like 59, 60 to 1, $5 to win, And I'm really like just selling out on this Midnight Bourbon thing because I feel like if I just wish it into existence, it will happen for me finally someday.
After that first Fairgrounds prep, I would have been feeling really fucking good with that because that looked like a horse that was just going to continue to improve. And then, I didn't hate his Fairground, the Louisiana Derby, the last prep. I didn't hate it. Hot Rod Charlie just ended up winning that race, but I thought he was really game, and I really wish he would have just fucking passed Hot Rod Charlie because I would have hit the damn pick 4 for like $1. But yeah. Stephen Fox saying that TVG earlier today said we have breaking news about the Derby. The Derby favorite, Essential Quality, who is 6-5. Mattress Mac has not placed his bet yet. So this horse might get even shorter.
Yeah. It's just not worth it anymore.
I thought he did place a bet for $500,000 only. I mean, I think there's another one coming, but I thought he did put some money in. I could be wrong about that. But either way,
it's a hedge for him. But
I don't care about early money. It doesn't, it's not going to matter.
The problem is that horse being that short, it means he has to invest more to make his hedge worthwhile. So he might have got where his hedge would have had to be so large that.
All right. So let's try something a little different here. All right. I want you guys to tell me, how does Rock Your World not win the Derby?
Did you see who his jockey is?
Joel Rosario, the greatest
jockey. That is how
the winner of the second annual Best Jockey Award from On the Wrong Lead.
Didn't he also win Rosario? Didn't he win both best and worst jockey?
I think he might have won that in the first year, but second annual awards he won best jockey.
So. Let me tell you a tale of a horse named Petruska.
We keep going back to that well, don't we?
Good thing I went down and got myself another beer.
You might need something stronger than beer for this one.
No.
No, I mean, if you are somebody who subscribes to the old Buyer Speed Fig, you need 100 going into the Derby. Rock Your World is your one and only horse in here that meets that standard. If you watched him in that last race, he was super impressive. He pulled away after going after he won by 4 1/4 and just accelerated around the corner. Looked like he could have run forever. I think, to me, he's your most likely winner. Obviously, though, it's a 19 horse field. Crazy things can happen. You never know. But I think Rock Your World is going to be my top pick.
Caleb.
I like Rock Your World. I've tried so hard to make a case for a price in this race. And I think you can make a case for probably 12 horses to hit the try and maybe 15 to hit the super. But I really only think there's about 3 or 4 horses that could honestly win. I think Rock Your World's in that camp. I think he makes a lot of sense. He should have a pace advantage. He should be tactical. I'm still a little unsure about him on the dirt. I guess it's my biggest concern. Not that is he going to handle it, but as far as it's one thing to win a 9-horse race when you're on the lead the whole time and you're out of traffic, you don't have to deal with kickback, you don't get bumped, you don't have to fight for position, and you just it's like a workout. I mean, turf horses work on dirt and that's fine. But coming from the 15 post with Rosario, with speed to his outside, with I imagine Soup and Sandwich going to be sent, potentially not getting the lead, even though it looks like he should, or having to fight for it, getting bumped, taking kickback, missing the break by half a step. There's a lot of question marks that I don't know how this horse will handle. So I like him, but he's not a horse that I'm going to be like, oh, he is absolutely the Derby winner. I guess, to say who I do like, I've tried to make a case against Essential Quality really hard. And like I said, I think he's the likeliest winner. He's done nothing wrong. He came home and, some insane number last time, something like 12 seconds and change for his last furlong and like 36-3, I think, for his last 3. I mean, his closing splits were insane. I mean, distance should be no issue. He ran down highly motivated on a loose lead after a slow pace. He's tactical enough to work out his own trip. And I don't need to pitch the glories of a favorite here, but I just think he is the likeliest horse to win, but he's not a Tiz the Law level of favorite who you would probably feel comfortable singling going into that race, even though Tiz the Law lost. I mean, going into that race, he just looked dominant. I don't think Essential Quality looked dominant in this race, but I think he is the likeliest winner and a deserving favorite.
Chase, you've been awfully quiet over there. What are you thinking?
All right, Essential Quality is going to win. I think Essential Quality is going to win. I really want Midnight Bourbon to win, though. This is the deal. This is more of just like a desperation thing. Like I want Midnight Bourbon to win, and for me to win a lot of money for a bet that I placed in January. So here's my how it happens. Is that if you look at these races for Midnight Bourbon, anytime he's gone more than a mile and a 16th. They decided not to send Midnight Bourbon. They decided to kind of let him, right behind another horse. And so I think that Mike, leans over and whispers in Midnight Bourbon's ear, just do what's in your heart. Just run as fast as you want to. And that's what happens is he just takes off and he goes. And he gets away on the front end because I don't feel like there's just I feel like the pace is wonky enough that you could have a horse that, just thought someone else was going, so he was going to go too, and then turns out he's the only one that does go. And it could be Midnight Bourbon. I also feel like, Asmussen, the Ass Man, has been really hot in these kind of races lately. He just keeps sneaking horses with great prices in the winner's circle. He did it all through the Arkansas Preps. So why do you think, he couldn't do it in Kentucky also? So, I mean, picking up Mike Smith is a huge upgrade from,
Food Poisoning Joe?
Yeah, from Food Poisoning Smoking Joe Talamo, who fucking hates us now, if he's ever seen this. But yeah, I think that you could get Mike Smith, and he's not going to strangle that horse back if he wants to run early. And Midnight Bourbon runs his race, and I make my sweet, sweet fucking futures money. But Elusive Quality probably wins. If I'm betting with my head, then I say, Essential Quality. Essential Quality keyed over Midnight Bourbon, and Exacta is probably my play for the Derby.
So let me just make let me paint a picture here for you. Chase, this might be painful for you, but we're going to do this. So, right, you're Ronus Racing, right? And you got this big race coming up, and you just need the win. So you call up Joel Rosario, right? This race, though, does not happen in Kentucky. Happens to be Santa Anita. Happens to be the Big Cap. Happens to be Combatant. It's the same thing, Chase. Ronus is going to do it again. They called up Joel. Joel, win this race for us, baby. I just really needed to bring Combatant up somehow. I'm sorry, Chase. Like, I just had to do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Rock Your World's done anything wrong. Rock Your World, I think, as far as a lot of the pace data you look out there, Rock Your World is one of the horses that's hit that 100 buyer, has hit the certain pace metrics. I think that win the race here. Rock Your World's currently sitting at 9-2 as your second choice. I don't know if you guys have looked at the odds board, but it's pretty fucking nuts. Hot Rod Charlie's at 8-1, and then everybody else is 16-1 or bigger. And that's with almost $2 million in the pool already.
How short is Essential Quality?
6-5.
Oh, well, that's not going to last. I mean, $2 million in the pool. I think they had 60 million last year or something. Like, if 2 million sounds like a lot, but
it's not in the Derby.
When you were already going to take a hefty chunk of it, it definitely tips the scales just a little bit. I mean, it's more than just insignificant, is all I'll say.
Yeah, and I would say also that all of the sort of wise guys or the insiders or whatever, really everybody's talking about 3 horses. And so you got to kind of expect that you're going to see those being short. I mean, there's definitely some price horses that you can make a case for. I mean, Josh is on Medina Spirit right now. They're the horse that if you can excuse his last versus Rock Your World, it's, everyone's favorite trainer. At 15-1 on somebody like a Medina Spirit, yeah, there's probably some value there.
Dude, if Medina Spirit wins this Derby, I'm going to take a fucking church youth group hostage. I will not know how to deal with my feelings, and a hostage situation is going to be the only way to possibly deal with it.
Man, there's a couple horses in this race. Medina Spirit's one of them. I think Midnight Bourbon's another one. Proxy would have been one, but ended up not making the gate. That I want to but I just I don't know. Are they really just one-paced, one-dimensional, need the lead types that probably won't get the lead? Or are these horses that can actually sit and have a second gear, a third gear, and actually kick in the turn? Because I'm really skeptical. I want to love Midnight Bourbon. I mean, I do. And I don't want to love Medina Spirit, but I want to like Medina Spirit at 15-1. But he really just seems super one-paced. And if these horses don't get the lead, I struggle to see them, being able to get the job done.
He's multifaceted and is not good enough, though.
Like, they sort of alluded on stream, and Baffert sort of alluded to the fact that maybe Medina really likes to be on the front end. I have a feeling you're going to see Medina kind of getting sent here. But
she won't last.
Yeah, exactly. That was my take as well.
But there are a lot of wise guy steam horses I've heard. The two I've heard the most of is Obesos and Mandaloun. I like
Mandaloun makes sense. Mandaloun makes sense.
Mandaloun can't get the distance.
Mandaloun is a total toss for me. I don't think he has a chance to get the distance.
No way Mandaloun gets a distance.
Completely. And there's also a ton of Derby history about not winning a race if you don't finish well in your last prep, and it's hard to kind of excuse what happened there for him.
That's when they had the old gate. Man, that they got the new starting gate. That doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, and then Bezos, I don't think he can win, but I think he hits the board almost, very high percent of the time. I think he runs third or fourth.
Yeah, agree.
I think everybody thinks he runs third or fourth, so there's a good chance the value is not going to be what it should.
Yeah, I've heard Sainthood. I've heard people make calls for Sainthood. That's one I do not see.
St. Horse, right?
Sainthood came out of the stakes, and the take on him was that he had a ton of trouble in the sort of in the lane, and that he was flying late and didn't really get to show his best stuff.
It's Turfway Park. All the trips are problematic. Fucking next.
Yeah, the one horse I think that I can make not to win, but definitely I hit the board kind of case at a big price is Brooklyn Strong, a 3. Pasta gets the mount here, and it's a horse that you can make an excuse that, off the long layoff, did he just sort of need a race? And Danny Vasquez is very good second off. So is this a horse that you see a return to form or return to a similar figure out of that Remsen, where he all of a sudden becomes probably not a horse who could win, but a player to definitely hit your superfecta?
All right, Mark. Okay. So you said this P word so many times, and I have to ask, of the group tickets that were put together, how many of them win if you single Umberto Rispoli in every single race? Like, if you had 6 straight Umberto Rispoli wins, what percentage of those tickets would still be live? Because I feel like it's 100.
It's probably 100. But he's not he's not on all 6 of those races. So, I think I can only use him in I think this is the only race that is in there's 2 races in here that have him on it.
I'm actually super disappointed Brooklyn Strong's running here. He was supposed to go to the Preakness, and I was really excited to bet him in the Preakness. He was sick over the spring and the late winter into the spring. He missed a lot of time. The weather was shit. He came into the Wood Memorial and didn't get a very good trip. He was kind of banged around a little bit, shut off on the fence. Danny Velasquez came out and said this horse doesn't like to really be inside other horses. He was hoping for an outside draw. So I was hoping this horse would fly under the radar, go to the Preakness, make a nice run. I don't think the factor is set up for him here. He's inside of pretty much the entire field. He doesn't like to be inside. I mean, that's a problem. Yeah, he wasn't pointing to this race. He wasn't expecting to get in, but there was a rash of defections that kind of let him slip in. I always prefer a horse that's pointed to a race rather than one that's kind of thrown into an afterthought, especially a race like the Derby. I love the horse. I love the story, the $5,000 purchase, but I hope they know what they're doing because I'm afraid they're going to ruin this horse.
Hey, Caleb, there is a request for you to show one of your IRS forms.
I'll see what I can do about that.
I can throw one up if you want me to.
Oh, man. No, I definitely don't have a signer because my biggest hits have been on dollar bets.
I have a withhold. I mean, it's online. Nobody has a signer because it's 2021.
Yeah,
but I did have a $12,000 pick 6 earlier this year on a $30 ticket that I had taxes taken out of.
We both had the same 12.
We both had the same pick 6.
Oh, you guys both had that same pick 6.
Yeah, but mine was only
I remember Chase and I were really feeling really great after that. I mean, we felt awesome.
Yeah,
I was still in the glow of my 14K, so
I think later that day I had a $10,000 pick.
That was probably days after. That was days after I missed that fucking $108,000 pick six, wasn't it? I think it was.
Not bitter or anything.
No, not bitter at all. Don't remember the exact payout either. But yeah. So I don't really know. There's a couple of horses here that I think we haven't really talked about, and I guess want to get your guys' opinion. What about this one, Known Agenda?
Known Agenda makes some sense. I think the post.
Is this the one that supposedly had the thing with the thing, so now we're supposed to look out for it because the thing was happening?
Because there was a couple of things, and no, I mean, I think the one post is inherently suspect in the Derby until proven otherwise. I realize they got a new gate. There's supposed to be a straight shot now, and it's not the stupid you need to turn right out of the gate thing. I never thought Known Agenda was that good. I want to fade everything coming out of almost all of the East Coast preps, definitely Aqueduct and Gulfstream, and Tampa. And I just can't go there.
I thought he was a fringe contender before the draw, and I have no interest with him afterwards. Even with Irad aboard, that kind of gives me pause, but of the short prices, he's definitely the one I don't want to use and I want to beat.
The 9, Hot Rod Charlie.
Big fan. He'll be probably my second or third pick.
He's my third pick. Will be prominent on a number of tickets.
He's my second after Essential Quality.
I don't remember what we were talking about. What was that?
Hot Rod Charlie.
No, never. Hell no, man. No, I mean, Hot Rod Charlie could maybe do well. No.
He could do well. No.
I don't see it. I don't. It's such a long. It just feels like such a kind of a sporadic race schedule in terms of just like from the Juvenile to the RB Lewis to the Derby, and then just not a lot of activity in that meantime. I don't see this horse getting out and actually wiring anybody, and it seems like the horse has to have the lead. So if he has to have the lead, who's he taking the lead from, and is it actually feasible that'll happen? I'm going to say no, because I do think that Medina Spirit will be pretty keyed up. I do think that Midnight Bourbon is definitely faster than Hot Rod Charlie. So I say that Hot Rod Charlie does not make the lead, and probably if he is nosed out of first place by the opening quarter, that he is going to pack it up and call it a fucking day. So I say no Hot Rod Charlie, and that is why.
I mean, I definitely don't think he's going to need the lead horse at all, but I'm curious as to what everyone thinks about the pace on the whole. Because I've heard a lot of people like, Rock Your World is going to get loose. And I don't know. Like, I can see why if you look at pure, pace figures, you might think that. But there's a lot of horses here that I think, want to be on or just off the pace. And it's a big field. Even if you don't want the lead, you're generally going to be aggressive for positioning. What do we think the pace looks like here? I mean, I don't think it's going to be nuclear, but I don't think it's going to be, 48 to the half by any stretch.
I think it'll be honest. I think Rock Your World is the horse with the most natural speed in the field. So he's going to have to be used less to get there. But I think there's a few trainers I've heard already saying it. We don't see a ton of pace in the Derby, so we want our horse forwardly placed. And when you start hearing that kind of talk, you think, oh, geez, it may be a little more contentious than what we had sort of thought it was going to be. So I think there's a fair bit of pace on in here. I don't think they're going to be nuclear. I don't think it necessarily melts or comes apart at the seams or anything. But I think you're going to have a fairly honest pace here.
It's just going to be a big ball of anxious pace of like 8 horses that are all anxious and don't know what they really want to do. It just makes for the weirdest Derby setup that we've had in such a long time.
Anyway, Josh, back to your horses. Didn't mean to distract.
Highly motivated.
No.
Can't go this far.
No. Keep throwing out names.
All right. What about another steam horse, Soup and Sandwich?
No.
I like Soup and Sandwich underneath on like a superfecta, 3rd or 4th place in a superfecta to fill that out. I don't think he's a horse that can win. Much like Brooklyn Strong, I think he's the type of horse you want underneath.
I don't think he hits the board. I'm not interested.
Next, Josh, give us another name.
Kendrick Carmouche.
No.
I hope he doesn't finish last.
I really would love if Bourbonic won this race, though.
Kendrick is such a nice guy to root for.
He's so easy to root for. And there's so many. I've heard so many people talking about Bourbonic. I don't get why. I think the Wood came back as a pretty terrible race. I don't think it'll go down as a great race or anything. But I've heard a ton of people talking about Bourbonic, and I don't quite get it.
All right, I'm asking chat here to post their picks, and we can talk through some of those real quick. Yeah, you guys were talking about the pace a little bit earlier, and it's always tough with these 20-horse races any kind of full field here, but it's always really, really tough because you just fucking have no clue. Like last year, I feel like we got bamboozled by Authentic because I thought there was going to be a little bit more pace. And Authentic ended up getting just on the lead and just fucking going. But let's see. Chat's got a couple of things here. Fighting Irish does like Rock Your World, number 1. He's got Essential Quality, then Known Agenda, Highly Motivated, which is pretty... I think that's pretty formful. What is the...
It's probably about how the board has it. I mean, roughly. A couple around.
No, so the board right now has got Essential Quality at 6-5, Rock Your World is second choice at 9-2, and then the rest, are going to come down in price at some point. But Hot Rod Charlie, Known Agenda, Medina Spirit, Midnight Bourbon. Midnight Bourbon's actually taking a bunch of money. And Highly Motivated.
It's because he good though.
And Highly Motivated is taking like no money.
I'm getting way too excited about Midnight Bourbon because he is taking a little bit of money too, which it makes me feel like I might have wished this one into existence. I had it on my vision board and everything.
Road Warrior thinks 14, 3, 17, 20. So he's making me look 14. Essential Quality, Brooklyn Strong. Of course he likes Brooklyn Strong. Highly Motivated, and Bourbonic. Man, you just love your Aqueduct horses, don't you?
You have to give him credit. I mean, he is just adamantly supporting Naira horses, even in the face of all odds.
Road Warrior, are you David Aragona in like the hidden David Aragona over here? Like, what are you doing?
It's a question. Todd Pletcher has 4 horses in this race. Known Agenda, Bourbonic, Sainthood, and Dynamic One. Does he hit the Super?
No.
I think so.
No.
I want to say no. Honestly, the horse that interests me to hit the Super the most is Sainthood, to be honest with you. But I still want to say
I would agree with you. I think Sainthood's the most likely horse there to hit the Super. Sure, maybe there's an excuse to be made out of that. It's the stakes, but
Oh, Brad's got a fun little thing. So Brad said that he hit an 8-horse superfecta box once, and so every year now since that's happened, he feels obligated to play an 8-horse superfecta box.
What's an 8-horse super box cost? It's got to be like a $2,500 super.
$1 min.
I don't think so. Caleb's doing the math.
I'll do the math. Don't worry, boys. It's going to be
8 times 7 times 6 times 5.
1680.
So yeah, I wasn't that far off.
I mean, you were at least $1,000 off.
That's good for me, though. I mean, I ran out of fingers. I'm bad at math.
John Massey's coming in here. Could we agree on an 8-horse superfecta box for fun?
Sure.
We probably could.
So I mean, like clearly, like we would use Essential Quality, Rock Your World, right?
Yeah.
We would toss all the Pletcher horses, apparently.
Yeah. I'd add Hot Rod Charlie to that.
I think we'd have an easy time with the horses we think end up at the top of that super. I think we could have some issues deciding which of the 30 to 1s we want to use underneath. But yeah, I think you'd use those 3 Mark just mentioned for sure, and then.
All right, so here, let me see it. I'm typing.
Make a notes tab, Josh.
I got 14. I got 15. All right. Who else? Okay.
9.
9. We're gonna add 9.
That's Hot Rod Charlie.
Hot Rod Charlie. Okay.
Caleb said Obezos to hit the super. I agree with that. So I think the 6 hits the super, or was one you want to have included at least.
I agree.
Chase, who do you feel real strongly on hitting the super here?
You have to ask.
I would probably. I don't know. It feels tough because I feel like the obvious ones are taken, and everything else seems like a pretty good little gamble.
I'll cross 8 in here. I think Medina Spirit hits the super.
I don't.
I can't.
Did someone say Soup and Sandwich? I do think Soup and Sandwich might hit the super.
Sandwich is horse shit wide 19.
19.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. We got 2 more horses.
Is Midnight Bourbon in there?
Nope. You probably have to use like a known. Yeah, Midnight Bourbon. Completely agree. And do you have to use something like a known agenda?
Or I guess if we're just going to pick the top 8 horses. But to me, if I'm playing supers, I want shitty 1-run closers to round out the bottom. I don't want a horse like Speed and Fade doesn't seem to typically hold.
If you want to talk about shitty run closers, how about Keep Me in Mind? If you want to talk about, or is that too shitty?
I think a shit closer like he's not technically a closer, but I think he's going to come from off the pace. And a horse like Helium is a horse I'd be interested in hitting the board. Like 4.
Really?
Thought we learned our lesson with this whole Tampa Bay prep thing.
No, he has not learned his lesson.
He can win. I'm not.
You're going to take Helium over somebody like a Brooklyn Strong? Really? Are you insane?
He's faster than Brooklyn Strong.
What about Hidden Stash? What about Hidden Stash?
No, Hidden Stash is terrible. He can't.
No Hidden Stash. Hidden Stash, just no.
A horse like Dynamic One or Sainthood, like maybe.
Maybe we got to use Highly Motivated.
I really think he's distance compromised, so I won't. But I wouldn't talk anyone against it either.
Or Mandaloon. Your Mandaloon's also.
He's even more distance limited than.
He's the most distance compromised in the field. No way.
I know you hate Todd Pletcher's horses, but what about Sainthood?
I could see it. I wouldn't hate that. I
thought Chase had Sainthood.
No, I do not think that horse can win. I definitely think that horse can hit the board, though.
There we go.
All right, there we go. There's 8 horses right here. Done. Add caption, and we'll post it up here. 8 horse box for fun. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 19.
They want to know, John Massey, why not like the King? I guess I just thought Sainthood was actually significantly the best horse in the Jeff Ruby and just had an unbelievably bad trip. If I want someone out of that race, it's probably him. I think he also drew better. I think he's better bred to get the distance. I just kind of like him better, and they'll probably get a better price.
Yeah, I had chat closed because I was typing our caption, but Richard Espinoza says Helium. Yeah, I think most people don't when they build their supers, they don't box them. So Helium is definitely a horse I think you can use, in your 3rd or 4th spot. Sixer said thoughts on Sainthood. I like Sainthood, and I think the sire is a relatively new sire, right? Mawish. Mark, I'm looking at you.
You're looking at me.
Mawish, he's a relatively new sire, right?
He's a relatively new sire, but I don't know him well.
Click on Clamp's comment.
I looked into his pedigree, and I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was like a mile and a. There's just a shitload of grass in the pedigree.
Yeah, Mawish did have a mile and an 1/8 win. He won the Don, and then was 6th in the Dubai World Cup. Their California Chrome was in it. He's had 79 offspring. They're 181 or out of 181 starts, 19 wins, 17 seconds, 18 thirds. So 10% over one. So nothing crazy, but he's a new sire. So
Yeah, I didn't really know too much about him. I mean, like Lemon Drop Kid on the bottom, which is clearly turf, turf type pedigree, or even synthetic, which is where he did his good running. But it was just interesting that Todd shipped this horse up, and the horse ran really well. I thought Corrales ran into a little bit of trouble. I don't think it was so much his fault as much as it was just the nature of fucking there being 11 horses on synthetic. But yeah, I like Sainthood. I think Sainthood's a decent horse here. Let's see.
I'd probably just chime in and say I'm never going to have like an 8-horse box super. But I often find Derby supers are easier to approach keying from the bottom up. Everyone wants to play a super that's like essential quality over 4 horses, over 10 horses overall. And like, okay, you can do it that way. But oftentimes I find it's easier to key a horse like, I need Bezos to run 3rd or 4th. And I'll key him in 3rd and 4th, and I won't have anyone keyed on top. I'll use essential quality, Rock Your World, and Hot Rod Charlie on top equally. Because I'm more confident that Bezos can hit the board than I am in any one of those 3 to actually win. It's kind of just a different way to take it, and that's how I'll play a lot of my supers in these big fields.
I'll probably build something similar to that, Caleb. Actually, it's very much how in this Derby super it makes a lot of sense. You don't want that. You don't want to pick the favorite or the second choice to be on top and then have them finish second and you get knocked out of it, or have them completely miss the board as favorites are prone to doing in the Derby. So, no, I think building around that 3rd, 4th, 5th choice horse that you think is likely to hit the board, but likely to hit the board with a high level of consistency makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll probably, if I build any supers, it'll probably be with just Rock Your World on top, and just kind of cut my price that way. But I'm just really high on that horse. So, let's see. Got any more comments here? Yeah, Fighting Irish really likes Sainthood. No problem with the distance there.
The Fighting Irish, the Notre Dame guy, likes Sainthood. What a stretch.
Shocker.
What a stretch.
John Massey saying, isn't the Lannery rail close perfect for a super?
He's a much smarter person than all of us, so probably.
Given how the rail played today, probably not.
Who's Lannery on?
Sainthood.
Yeah. Come on.
Do y'all think I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do y'all think we see a Triple Crown winner out of this crop?
No.
2 out of 3?
No.
Maybe 2 out of 3.
But it would be Kentucky Derby and Belmont. I think you get a completely different Preakness winner.
Oh, I could not disagree more with that.
I couldn't. I could see a Derby Preakness flip back horse.
The Derby winner is going to run the Preakness, and if he loses, he's not going to run the Belmont. Is my thinking. But,
I think it's gonna be one of these horses that we thought might be a little bit distance compromised, like a Concert Tour or a Caddo River is going to run back in the Preakness. I feel like it's probably going to be one of those horses that wins, and then they obviously aren't really the fit for the distance of the Belmont. So that's why I think it's the Preakness is the one that would be like the break in the chain, because I feel like while there's not as much speed, I do feel like there's a good bit of distance pedigree, and that made it into the Kentucky Derby this year. So that's why I say that's the different one.
My bold Belmont prediction is Road Warrior gets tossed out of Belmont.
That's not bold. That's 6-5.
That's
Mark.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I think my take here is that the Belmont winner is not going to be in the Derby field. I don't know who it is. I'm not trying to make a case for a specific horse. I'm just saying I don't think we've seen that horse yet. Or we're not going to see that horse tomorrow, whatever.
Road Warrior saying, no way, my boy Wayburn. Peter Pan, Belmont early double pick. Only horse who stuck around the wood near front. And then Fighting Irish says, if there's a Triple Crown winner, be shocked if it's not Rock Your World or Essential Quality.
I would agree with that. If there's a Triple Crown winner, it's probably one of those two. But I don't think this is the year.
I agree.
I'm be really excited to see some of these horses run on turf. I think
Which one
Sainthood,
specifically, Josh?
I mean, I think Sainthood's going to be probably a turf horse.
Agreed.
If anything.
Known Agenda might be a turf horse as well.
Who else was I thinking? There's somebody else I was looking at that I thought was an absolute turf horse. Crap. I'm lost my mind. Maybe someone like Hidden Stash I thought might be a better turf horse.
Mandaloon honestly might be a really good turf horse.
It's got a turf ass sounding name though, that's for sure. You say Mandaloon, I tell you that's a turf horse 9 times out of 10.
Hey, maybe if Rock Your World doesn't win the Derby, maybe he goes the Catholic boy route and just wins a couple of easy 3-year-old stakes races and then wins a track.
Picks off a peanut ridge just for.
Josh chose violence.
Yeah, Josh just chose violence. He went there.
Caleb had to finish his drink after that one.
Yeah, man. Be on the Derby Trail and then just win the P9 Ridge just for the F of it, you know?
Okay, speaking of choosing violence, John Massey saying, and Medina Spirit wins the Triple Crown.
Oh,
he's falling out of his chair right now after typing that.
Oh, my God.
John Massey, I used to have respect for you.
Oh, I'm not going to. Road Warrior saying that he's very calm in person. I believe it. He's very put together. At Road Warrior, so we did, before we get off, I think last year we did a bigger podcast, and I had a bunch of guests and stuff like that, and I had Road Warrior come on and talk, and he was like so well put together and just like prepared like to talk, like he had like all his points, like it was like the greatest probably like 10 minutes in like On the Wrong Lead history, and it was a fucking guest. Like he just bar. He was just like super prepared. He had great talking points. He gave out a play. The play hit. Like it was just fucking insane. And I can't wait to do it again. We'll have to do it for Belmont for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I think we've talked this race to death. We'll be on Discord tomorrow. I today I was kind of off and on just because I was on track, but tomorrow I will definitely just be sitting at my computer for like the entire day. Chase, I know you're going to be live. Where can people find you?
Tomorrow I will be on the ABR live stream that they're doing through the Derby. I believe I will be on at 4:15 Eastern, or sorry, 5:15 Eastern, 4:15 Central. So between the turf race and the Derby.
Cool. Caleb, you what are you planning on doing tomorrow? Are you just focusing on Churchill, or are you going to play Oaklawn?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have Churchill done already, and I was so annoyed with like the hour between races today that I started handicapping tomorrow's Oaklawn. So I'll probably be playing a little bit of both. The card's not very good, but there's big fields, and it makes a lot more sense to me than Churchill does. So I'll be playing. I mean, I'm not going to skip Churchill on Derby Day, of course, but I'm going to have some side action at Oaklawn.
Mark?
I will be managing my my stupidly large pick 6, and I'm going to be chasing this mandatory pick 6 that pays out tomorrow. So trying to structure a ticket that I like.
Was anyone else watching Caleb drink from that water bottle a little too intently, or is it just me? It's just me.
I think
that was. Whew,
it's been that kind of day.
Whew, got me going there.
Well, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. We had good viewership today, better than we normally do. So thank you guys. Good luck to everybody tomorrow. If you guys have any questions or last minute comments or want to know how the group ticket's doing, just hit us up on Discord. Find us on Twitter at wrong_lead. All of our Twitter handles are here in our names. So yeah, we will catch you guys tomorrow, and good luck out there, and hopefully we catch some winners. Thank you.